I was 17 when I had him, far too young to be given any responsibilities, let alone motherhood. News of my condition was not met with joy. Had we been Catholics, we might have blamed it on Immaculate Conception. But we were Southern Baptists, so we blamed it on bourbon. You've never seen a girl as frightened as I was the day that Michael came into the world. I stared at him as he slept. I slipped my finger into his tiny hands, which he grabbed onto with such strength. That grip, that unwillingness to let go, astonished me. This helpless creature encountering another human, gripping onto them and holding them tightly, as if fearing that to let go would risk never being held again. It was the first time in my life I understood that I was needed. It was the first time in my life I truly felt love. Michael and I were both children when he was born, only 17 years apart in age. I don't think I raised him so much as we raised each other. Michael saved me. Michael was effeminate as a child. We called it sensitive. Others had less compassionate words. I had less compassionate words. However, I cloaked them in faith. I would pray two things about Michael every night. God, please protect him. God, please don't let him be queer. I bought Michael a set of weights. He grew muscles. By the time Michael was 18 and announced that he was moving to New York, he was 6'3" and weighed 220 pounds of pure, solid muscle. I sent him out into the world certain that however effeminate he might be, at least his imposing physique would keep the queers away. What the hell did I know? The night before he left, Michael and I stayed up late talking. I kept putting off sleep because I knew that the morning would bring with it his departure. I told him to find a church when he got there and to find himself a nice girl. Get in good with her family, I said. That way he'll be sure to get a decent meal every now and again. And then he told me, and I'll never forget the look of calm, knowing certainty in his eyes as he did. He told me there would be no girls for him, at least not in the way that I meant. Mama, he said, I'm homosexual. I'm going to New York to fall in love. This was more than I could bear to listen to. No, I told him, you're confused. You're afraid. You're still so very young. In truth, I was the one who was afraid. Afraid of losing him. Afraid he'd be harmed. Afraid for his soul. I told him he could not be my son and be like that. I told him he would die of disease or violence. I told him he would spend eternity in hell. And do you know what he told me? That it was better than spending his life in South Carolina. I admire the moxie now, but that night I wanted to hit him. My only consolation it is that I didn't. But the damage had been done. I was no longer his mother, his protector, his one safe person in the world. I kept my vigil for 7 hours. Walter brought me food, but I didn't eat it. I couldn't move from Michael's side. The sun was starting to come up. Michael stirred. He opened his eyes. He smiled at me. Hi, Mom, he said, his voice no more than a croak. Michael closed his eyes. He squeezed my hand. I sat there for an hour as Michael faded away from me. His grip on my hands weakening until finally he stopped breathing and he slipped between my fingers and died.